Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I am your host Omar Khalid. But today is the 22nd of February 2023. These are the stories that we'll be discussing during the course of the show. We'll begin with the cooperation that exists and that is now strengthening between Pakistan and the United States of America in different fields, whether it be defense, whether it be counterterrorism, and whether it be commerce. We'll be discussing in detail the commercial ties or the ties in the field of trade between US and Pakistan in the wake of the visit of Naveed to the United States of America, where talks are being held between both the sides in the realm of economy and trade. And also there are some statements that have been given by Mr. Qamar, including the IMF agreement that he says is going to be finalized within this week. And he also talked about how Pakistan has been affected by the devastating floods. This and more is going to be part of our first segment. Our second story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the Constitution of India, which according to the BJP leaders is totally aligned with the BJP's philosophy. A lot of question marks emanate as far as the reality of all this is concerned in the wake of a statement that was given by the Union Minister while talking to one of the Indian newspapers. We'll be discussing that in detail, the different kinds of application of the BJP philosophy in real life, whether it be on the minorities, whether it be on Indians, whether it be human rights abuses or more. This is our second story. Then we'll be talking about Turkish ambassador Dr. Mehmet, who has expressed gratitude to Pakistan for all the help that the Pakistani people and the Pakistani government have given to their Turkish brethren in the wake of the devastating earthquake that hit Turkiye. And also we've also talked yesterday about another earthquake of 6.4 magnitude that hit Turkiye again. Pakistan will always stand by its Turkish brothers, and that is something that has been reciprocated by the ambassador of Turkiye to Pakistan. And finally, we'll be talking about the founding day of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that is being celebrated today in the wake of the ties between Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif Saab also tweeted as far as thanking the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on behalf of the people and the government of Pakistan, and of course felicitating King Salman bin Abdulaziz on this auspicious day. This is going to be our last story. Let's begin with our first without further ado, and this concerns the relationship between the US and Pakistan, although strained, now coming back to a normal tangent. We'll be talking about the ties as far as trade are concerned after this report. Stay tuned.
The decades-long relationship between Pakistan and the United States has been in flux following the American military withdrawal from Afghanistan. Geopolitical concerns that shaped America's regional alignments and priorities also defined relations with Pakistan. Since geopolitical and geo-economic dynamics are shifting fundamentally, both sides are emphasizing positive transformations in ties. Pakistan's Commerce Minister Naveed elucidated the agenda of first ministerial level meeting of a US-Pakistani trade and investment body in 7 years that Pakistan is looking for breakthroughs in agriculture and information technology. Commerce Minister Naveed will meet with US Trade Representative Catherine Tai and other senior US officials under US-Pakistan Trade and Investment Framework Agreement. Pakistan is well placed to help diversify US supply chains since it could serve as a gateway to Central Asia. Earlier, Pakistan and the United States held defense talks in Washington to enhance coordination on strategic issues and explore various options for ramping up bilateral military and security ties. The 4-day talks were second round of the Pakistan-US mid-level defense dialogue. The first round was held in Pakistan in January 2021. Counselor of the U.S. Department of State Derek Chalot and a delegation of senior U.S. government officials visited Islamabad to highlight the importance of our bilateral partnership and reaffirm our country's shared goals.
Dr. Manzoor Ahmed joins us in the studio. He's a leading economist. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, to have joined us. Yeah. Dr. Saab, now that Naveed Saab is in Washington and talks about the revival of strained ties between the US and Pakistan in different realms, we've also seen Derek Chalot, who was here in Pakistan, has talked about a revival of ties between both the countries as well. How important is the revival of these ties? How important is the US for Pakistan as an ally?
Well, U.S. is one of the most important, I should say, as China and U.S. And U.S. is our #1 export market. As a single country, it imports the maximum from Pakistan, over 6 billion, 6.1 billion last year. And then if you look at in terms of investments, if you look at the longest duration, 10 years, US has been amongst the top 3 or 4 investment. In fact, last year its investment almost grew by about 50%. So these 2 terms, and then US is also a very leading partner in terms of providing technical assistance as well as education. Some 800 scholarships are given every year to Pakistanis for so it's 800 Fulbright scholarships, and there are others, but these are Fulbright scholarships. So US has a very important role in
all right. Now, let's talk also about the TIFA, that is the Pakistan Trade and Investment Framework Agreement, for which Syed Naveed Kamal Saab is in Washington. He's talked to Catherine Tai, who's the US trade representative. How important is it for Pakistan to further diversify trade and economic ties with the US?
Yes, first, it's almost after 7 years that they're, this TIFA negotiations have to, normally they were supposed to take part every year. But we've not had, it was last, I think, concluded in 2012, but then there were some points still sticking, still not fully concluded, but they were to have negotiations every year. Now, for the last 7 years, they've had no negotiation. So this is a big step forward that they started negotiations on. You see, this is about investment, this is about trade,
agriculture, information technology.
Agriculture, because this is the starting point. If we ever have to have a free trade agreement, then this is the first step. This is an essential step towards that.
All right. As far as the IT is concerned, or agriculture is concerned, how important could the US become as a partner in these 2 realms? And then we'll discuss a bit more in different other issues.
Yes, US is the hub for technology. For throughout the world, there are other countries have made very strong, but when you think of any big technology,
Silicon Valley,
it's all Silicon Valley and all that. And then in terms of agriculture, US is one of the most productive, whether it's soybean or whether it's, beef or whether it's, you name it, cotton. Pakistan, for example, one of the, biggest imports come from US, at least $500 million every year. So, 1/4, 1/3 of our, sometimes half of our cotton imports come from US. So, in terms of agriculture, US has a very important role for Pakistan.
All right. Economic and trade cooperation, as far as goods and services is concerned, as per the US, has total $12 billion trade between the US and Pakistan. Can that be further expanded upon? And if so, which are the realms that could be looked into?
You see, US is the world's biggest import market for everybody. It's 3 trillion. So if we export 6 billion, it's not even 2%, so it's very little. So there's big scope in expansion of and our textile industry, although we don't really get any like from the European Union, we have this GSP plus where we export duty free, and the US has a GSP type arrangement, but it doesn't cover textile, clothing, etc. And also it is it has some products, but which are not of export interest to Pakistan. So despite the fact that Pakistan doesn't have duty-free access, it doesn't have a free trade agreement like say Vietnam or like many other countries. So Pakistan is still able to have it at so it's a big market for any country.
All right.
And so it's for Pakistan, yes.
Pakistan has weathered a huge challenge in the form of the floods that wreaked havoc in Pakistan. 1/3 of our country was submerged in water. This is also something that has been highlighted by Syed Naveed Kamal Saab in Washington. This was also something that was highlighted by Derek Chollet when he was in Pakistan. Of course, he is the counselor of the US Department of State. He also discussed how the US can help Pakistan weather this huge economic challenge in the wake of these floods. What can the US do in order to help Pakistan, apart from the IMF agreement, What are the other factors which in which the US could prove to be an important partner?
You see, both US as well as China, they have huge advantage in terms of infrastructure. You know, the two biggest dams that Pakistan has, Mangla and Tarbela, is thanks to US, I mean, at the time. And you know, they've been there now for 40, 50, 60 years almost. And you know, still functioning at more than 100% capacity. So US has you know, a lot of expertise in this area. And because US covered its own you know, infrastructure, rivers, etc. So that technology can work for Pakistan as well. And so US is a rich country, and you know, it can invest in this. And I think we need some long-term solution as to how to keep the water, you know, in control, rather than having these floods every 2 years or 3 years.
Maybe the US could give us some expertise in that regard on how to, technical expertise with experts and with how to build our infrastructure that could be resistant to all such calamities. Also, do you feel pharmaceuticals is one arena where Pakistan could be an important export partner for the US?
Yes, but Pakistan will have to do a lot of homework in its internal market, because US is highly concerned about this intellectual property rights, etc. So Pakistan has already strengthened. Pakistan used to be on this priority list. There's a list US compiles every year for countries where intellectual property rights are not respected that much.
All right.
So Pakistan used to be in that, but it has improved its ranking, because it has done much better. And US has a very, pharmaceutical industry is huge. And if you look at India and you know, their exports, Pakistan can, you know, even capture a little bit of it, it's going to be huge.
What about the US supply chains? Could Pakistan be an important partner as far as diversify these supply chains are concerned?
Yes, because US has already, what they call it, friend shoring, near shoring. It used to be offshoring, and everything used to go to China. Now they want to move out of China, because after the COVID problem and their political problems, they want to you know, diversify. And already they've moved a lot into Vietnam, into Thailand, and some of it is coming to India. So Pakistan should make some more effort that's to attract some of the, because all these other countries, what they're trying, China +1, because they want to be China plus the other one. So I think Pakistan should make more effort to get into that.
Dr. Manzoor, also Naveed Sahab has said that the IMF is likely to announce the staff level agreement on extended fund facility with Pakistan by this week, and he's in the US, of course. Do you feel that could also be an important factor as far as not only strengthening Pakistan's on the economic front is concerned, but also attracting more investment into Pakistan?
Yes, obviously, an IMF deal would remove these clouds of default, on the verge of default. You see, once we actually sign it, get going, then this thing. So IMF, this will be very helpful, and I think they were almost there. There was something on energy, and there was some little thing, and I think it's been, and since Mr. Naveed is there, and he made a very positive statement, so we hopefully in next 2-3 days should come.
Pakistan and the US are also trying to enhance defense ties. They already had strong defense ties. Also in counter-terrorism, there's going to be an important meeting next month as well. The importance of multifaceted relationship between the US and Pakistan under the current geostrategic and geopolitical arena, how important do you feel it is, and how important is it for Pakistan to balance this relationship with the other relationships that it has with other important stakeholders?
Yes, I feel that in the past, previously, there was a lot of geostrategic, but then there was geopolitics too much. And Pakistan's last national security policy, that said that we would like to move a little bit more toward geoeconomics. So I think this is a good opportunity to Pakistan to balance for too much reliance on that side to more on economic side.
All right. And what other factors do you feel are important for Pakistan to solidify, to strengthen in order to further enhance the strategic or the bilateral cooperation with the United States of America? There are, of course, conditionalities that any country puts forward when it wants to establish a solid relationship in different fields. What, in your point of view, does Pakistan need to do in order to further strengthen that with the US? I understand that in the past, with the previous government, there has been a lot of issues as far as the US-Pakistan relationship is concerned that was strained because of certain comments that were made. But now, do you feel the US considers this as part of the past, or do you feel there are still some apprehensions from the US side?
Obviously, it takes a little time for these things to settle down. But after Pakistan was removed from the FATF list, that means that US was satisfied that Pakistan has taken several steps and Pakistan is on the right course. Being out of FATF gives us lot more credibility than we had. Had we been in that list, perhaps other things would have been more difficult.
But now that we are out of the FATF list, now that inshallah by this week we'll also be hearing good news as far as the agreement with the IMF is concerned, what should Pakistan work towards as far as solidifying its relationship with the US is concerned? In your point of view as an economist who understands what Pakistan needs to do in order to strengthen itself in the realm of trade and economy?
I mean, it would be a difficult initiative, but Pakistan, like some other, like Jordan has done and many other countries have done this, they tried to get into a free trade agreement with US. And those countries that did, they were very successful. Pakistan should also now make an effort because you see, from the US side, we get mostly these aircrafts and computer related equipment and other things. So we don't really have any competing industry locally. So but on the other hand, US, if we get duty-free access, our exports, I'm sure, because US has high taxes on these, shirts and belt and textile clothing, where Pakistan has a big advantage.
And we've got a wonderful textile sector.
Yes, and that could at least double. So Pakistan should do a study, should go for having a free trade agreement with the US.
All right, but information technology, we've discussed this in the beginning as well. Do you feel this could also be a very important factor that could solidify the relationship between both the countries and of course solidify Pakistan as an economic partner of the US?
Yes, but again here, Pakistan has to do a lot of domestic homework. It has to make more spectrum available. It has to move towards 5G. Maybe it will take, already India and Bangladesh are doing trial runs. Pakistan has to be a little bit ahead of where it is now. And it's already in these, I think 7 months, for the first time, we have crossed 1.7 billion we reached. So this is the low-hanging fruit. Pakistan can, easily cross $5 billion in the next, 2 or 3 years.
All right. Thank you so very much, Dr. Manzoor, to have joined us, to have talked to us about the relationship between the US and Pakistan in the field of trade and economy and how that is going to be strengthened, inshallah, with Sayyid Naveed Sahab also in Washington and with the deal with the IMF also coming to a conclusion, inshallah, by this week. Thank you so very much to have joined us.
Thank you very much for this.
Let's come to our second segment, and that concerns the Indian constitution and the so-called statement by one of the Indian ministers that says that it is based, rather the BJP ideology is based on the Indian constitution. Is it? More in the following report.
Indian assault on democratic values and civil liberties has now garnered global attention. Minorities are being persistently hounded under Narendra Modi's government in India. Churches are attacked, mosques are demolished, while Hindutva leaders are openly calling for violence against Muslims and other minorities in India. Explaining Hindutva contours of contemporary India, Indian Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar admitted that BJP's ideology is the Constitution of India. Ironically, BJP's own constitution says its ideology is Hindutva, which is nowhere mentioned in the Constitution of India. Fascism has already crippled Indian state apparatus, and the ruling BJP RSS nexus is using Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir as a laboratory for its policies to realize the dream of Hindu Rashtra. Renowned global research institutions contained one common observation, that India's democracy is backsliding, leading to a rapid and alarming deterioration of political and civil liberties. Marginalization from mainstream public and political discourse. Indian minorities are enduring economic exclusion and denial of economic, social and cultural rights. To ensure a fearful and pliant public space, aggressive and violent use of police brutality or state agencies against those in opposition has also been rampant. BJP government is suppressing free speech and abusing the emergency blocking provision of the country's controversial Information Technology Rules 2021 to intimidate news organizations. Today, India is communal, authoritarian, Brahmanical and patriarchal state which stands at brink of genocidal violence against non-Hindus.
Well, is the BJP policy as per the Indian Constitution? To discuss that and more as far as the BJP philosophy or the RSS philosophy rather is concerned. We've been joined by Naveed Ahmed Khan Sahab. He's an analyst. Naveed Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Naveed Sahab, when a Minister of State says that the Constitution of India is the ideology of the BJP party, do you feel any of that is true with all that is happening within India, whether it be the human rights abuses, whether it be the denial of basic rights to anybody, whether it be the women, the children of any other religion, especially the Muslims or the Sikhs or the Dalits? Do you feel really that the BJP ideology is based on the Indian Constitution?
No, I don't think so. If BJP thinks, or if Modi thinks, I mean, it is very important to understand that the policy of BJP and the policy of Modi is the true picture of India, or it should be a true picture of India. No, it should not be. BJP's and Modi's policy is based on Hindutva.
Of course.
And it is based on extremism, fascism. And if the picture of India in the entire world goes based on fascism, extremism, what will be the picture? It is the picture which in fact reflects the attitude, the mentality, the mindset of Modi and the party only. Not it doesn't reflect the picture of India. There are many other parties like
but India is slowly drifting. India is slowly drifting into what Rahul Gandhi Sahab says is fascism. What are the socio-cultural, socio-political factors that have contributed to India drifting into the state of fascism or even genocide, as the Genocide Watch head has said? Unfortunately,
India, a population of almost 1.4 billion or 1.34 billion Indians, they are in the hands of a fascist leader, Modi. And that fascism is driving India on a very, very unsafe brink. And that is why these circumstances in Kashmir are day to day going in hell. And I don't think the Kashmiris will find any relief in the presence of Modi or the school of thought of BJP.
You talk of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. I'd like to refer to what Mehbooba Mufti Sahiba said very recently, and she said that the Indian held region is being used as a laboratory by the BJP government for implementation of its policies that is soon going to be implemented all over India. What do you feel is the role of the different institutions in India, whether it be the media, whether it be the judiciary, and do you feel they are being misled by this Hindutva slogan that is being raised by the BJP or RSS nexus?
Yes, of course. It is like, it is the same. But the thing is this, the policy of extremism, the policy of hatred driven by Modi in the country will drift India and Kashmir to unsafe shores. And definitely it will plunge Pakistan and the region. The extremism always moves from one country to the other. In Pakistan, you can say the attitude of Imran Khan is the same, the attitude Modi is reflecting. The approach, the fascism reflected by Imran Khan is the same Modi is reflecting. So the whole of the region is entangled by the fascist leaders.
All right.
And
in addition to this fascism, do you also feel that India is becoming an electoral autocracy under the BJP government? Because Human Rights Watch says in its report of last year that Indian authorities have intensified their crackdown on activists, on journalists and other critics of the government using politically motivated persecution, and this still is going on as we speak. Do you feel India slowly getting into a groove that it will not be able to come out of easily?
I don't think slowly. It is getting very on a very brisk pace. India is being drifted towards such crisis or such situation driven by Modi. It is very unfortunate for Indian nation or India because the leader is, I would say, he has gone mad. He is out of his senses. And a person who is out of the senses cannot lead a population of 1.4 billion people. This is very unfortunate.
That is so true. Ma'am Ganguly also, who is the South Asia Director at the Human Rights Watch, talks about institutionalized apartheid in India, whether it be through the way the minorities in India are being dealt with, whether it be the way other institutions or people working in other institutions are being targeted. Do you, in your point of view, do you feel there are similarities between what is happening in India and what is happening as far as the Palestine is concerned by the Israelis?
Absolutely right. In both of the countries or both of the places, the situation is the same. What is happening in Palestine by or what is being dealt in Palestine by the Israelis, same is happening in Kashmir by the Modi Sarkar. Both of the situations are the same. The thing is, the important matter is this: on both of the places, hatred is being promoted, polarization is being enhanced. So, if you add hatred and polarization in the society or in any region, you cannot get good results. I mean, if you shoot or if you abuse anyone, how you can expect very good gesture from any side? So, the ultimate losers are in Kashmir, Kashmiris, in Palestine, the Palestinians. The international forums, the international community and the international bodies should come out and move ahead and use their influence, use their relationships to find the Palestinians and the Kashmiris on a safe place.
All right. Naveed sahab, it's not just the human rights organizations, it's not just leading journalists from across the world, not just leading publications from across the world that are saying facts and figures and telling the truth about what is happening in India. Also BBC documentary that came out recently, which India has reacted very strongly to, that talks about the truth as far as what happened in Gujarat or what is also currently happening in India is concerned.
It is reality. It is reality.
It is a reality.
And what BBC has brought in picture, it's a reality. And is not it a reality what happened in Gujarat when Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat? You remember the train incident in which thousands of the human beings, they were burnt to ashes. Was not a fascism? Was not it a brutality? I mean, by then, Modi enhanced his brutality and he won elections and he became Prime Minister. And again, he enhanced more brutality and fascism. He became once again Prime Minister. And if he becomes third time Prime Minister or if he remains in power anymore, he will be very dangerous for India. and for the integration of India.
You know,
because the base of his politics is Hindutva. India is for Muslims, India is for Sikhs, India is for Christians, and India is for Hindus as well. But he says that India is for Hindus only, of Hindus for Hindus. But India is as important for Hindus as is for Muslims and Sikhs as well.
Now, there's a very interesting debate that has come even at the Munich Security Conference, where billionaire financier and philanthropist George Soros took India's case as one of the different cases, but he talked about India as well. He said, and I'll quote, "India is an interesting case. It's a democracy, but its leader, Narendra Modi, is no Democrat. Inciting violence against Muslims was an important factor in his meteoric rise. He remains and maintains close relations with both open and closed societies." And also he talked about the close ties between Tycoon Adani and Narendra Modi. We all know the recent crisis that has emanated as far as that is concerned, to which Narendra Modi is not reacting, is not, stating his name anyways. When even international leaders or people who are respected across the world talk about India in such a case, why is the world not reacting, exerting pressure on India to revert its policies?
There are two aspects. Number one, the world thinks that India is a big power. Economically, India is a big power. It's true that as a political power, India is also a big power. But as a political power, you cannot run any very big country when you are not Democrat. India is a democratic country, but you are running India as a fascist or as a dictator. Number two, economically, India is a big state, big country, and different countries have their stakes, economic states in India. They're multinationals, and the business is business ties. They force the other countries to remain in their limits, diplomatic limits. So that is why they are not forcing India, which I think to some extent they should play their role, and they need to force for the betterment of the Kashmiris, for the betterment of Indian nation as well, Indians as well.
When we talk of the Indian nation and Kashmiris and Indian minorities, I'd like to take you to George Stanton, who said quite some time back that India is slowly and steadily going into a state of genocide, and he's the head of Genocide Watch. That is a statement that was said quite some time back, but it is being reiterated in one form or the other by different other human rights organizations and important leaders. Do you feel India is slowly creeping into a state or a place of no return, or do you feel there's still scope for India to become a better country, to become a more pluralistic country?
India can become, Modi will not remain in power for decades. Definitely the regime will be changed. Elections are
but Naveed, the way things are going, the Indian public is brainwashed into believing that Narendra Modi is their savior.
It is true. It is true. They are poisoned. Indians are poisoned by Modi, number one. And the other politicians are also, they also believe in hatred. But Modi is above all. They are successful in international level. Why? They are successful because of their strong lobbying on UN forums and in US, in the UK, and any other forums. Their lobbying is very strong, and that lobby is based on the economic and political benefits. That is why the international community is not pressurizing India or Indian force. Indian
but
government.
Isn't this the BJP government at the expense of whatever of the BJP ideology, so-called Hindutva policy or doctrine, is slowly digging the grave of India?
It is very dangerous for India, because if you are not ready to bear the other nations, how can you expel or you kill those nations from India? There are almost 400 million Muslims, around 40 to 50 million Sikhs, or even more Christians, how can you kill them? How can you, either they will be beared by the Hindu domination, or they will go for their own countries, Khalistan and many other countries. So this behavior of Modi is creating problems for India as an integrated state. So he is sowing the seeds of disintegration. More Pakistan-like countries like Khalistan, like Christian land, or one more Muslim country, and there are many other movements in Bihar and in Chhattisgarh and many
they are going
states.
to gain momentum if this current policy of the BJP government continues. I'd like to go towards a tweet of Shashi Tharoor, who's a leading journalist and also member of the Congress. He talks about the same statement made by the BJP minister, who says that the BJP's ideology is the constitution of India. But he says that the BJP's own constitution says its ideology is Hindutva, which is nowhere mentioned in the constitution of India. A, that's a very important point. B, Sangh Parivar says it wants Hindu Rashtra, which is also against the constitution. Is the judiciary not understanding what is happening, or has the judiciary also taken the BJP side?
Judiciary has also, I feel that Indian judiciary has become the part of Hindutva as well, and they feel that India or Hindustan or Bharat or that land is for Hindus only, and this approach will split India, I tell you. Once you start suppressing the communities in India, you will be initiating the movements of the new countries or the new nation countries for the new nations. So it will not be a service to India, I would say.
All right. All the reports that are coming from the human rights organizations, the BBC documentary, the statements by important philanthropists like Mr. Soros, the mess that Mr. Adani is into, and how the world is openly criticizing that indirectly India as well, because he's very near and dear to Narendra Modi. All of these combined, are they going to prove to be some kind of a pressure tactic for India to change its stance, or will India continue to move as it has been going under the BJP regime?
No, I don't think it should go in the direction which Modi has derived. They will have to play their roles. In past, you would just have a view the role of Vajpayee, Advani, and Joshi. What they have been contributing to the party and the government, I would say their roles are the asset of the party, and they were blessing for the party and the country as well. But once the party has come in the hands of the leader like Modi, party is destroyed and the country is getting destroyed.
Seems to be the philosophy or the ideology of the party as well, which has based itself on the RSS, which is of course based more or less on the Nazi ideology as well. Let's see how things roll out, but the way things are moving ahead, things are not really all gung-ho or positive as far as India, whether it be on the national front or whether it be internationally as well. Thank you very much, Naveed Ahmed Khan Saab, analyst, joining us and talking to us about the statement by the Union Minister of India, who says that the BJP philosophy is in fact the Constitution of India, which is in fact a total fabrication or lie, to say the least. Thank you so very much, Naveed Saab, to have joined us. Let's come to our last two stories, ladies and gentlemen. The first is, of course, Turkiye, that thanks Pakistan for all the humanitarian assistance that Pakistan, its government, its forces and its people have provided to the Turkish brothers. We have seen how Turkiye has been devastated by the earthquake, the 7.8 magnitude earthquake, the different aftershocks that came, and of course then the other earthquake that also came yesterday. How Pakistan has stood by its Turkish brethren in this time of need, and now Pakistan will continue to stand by Turkey in this hour of need. And that is what the Turkish ambassador Dr. Mehmet Pachasi has expressed gratitude for the leadership and the people of Pakistan to extend this humanitarian aid to their country when it is in need, as Turkey has done for Pakistan when Pakistan was in need. Finally, we'll be talking about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that is observing and celebrating its founding day. Today, several cultural, artistic, popular events are being organized in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And of course, our Prime Minister has also tweeted on this behalf that on behalf of the people and the government of Pakistan, I wish to extend our felicitations to King Salman, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and the people of Saudi Arabia on this founding day. It celebrates the kingdom's rich history and culture and highlights its remarkable transformation. Definitely. With that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with news stories and segments that pertain to you, us, and Pakistan. Allah Hafiz.